Welcome to another edition of the Post-Game Wrap. I'm Jarret Johnson, and boy, another Big 12 game, another eventful night. The Red Raiders, man, they dropped a tough one to a really good West Virginia team, 82-71 in Lubbock. Mountaineers picked up the season sweep, which is tough. That's tough to swallow if you're a Red Raider fan, but look, I have a lot of respect for this West Virginia team. I feel like it was a really close game despite the final score. Of course, Beard went ballistic on the refs. I've never seen him like that. I don't remember him really getting a lot of technicals. I certainly don't remember him ever getting thrown out. And he got his money's worth, though. He gave all the refs what for. There were some questionable calls. I mean, there's no doubt. Big 12 refs were terrible. They didn't even know how many free throws to award a couple of instances on some and one tonight. I mean, they called so many fouls on both sides. It was just really bogged down the game against two really good teams. I think both, obviously Texas Tech being number 7 in the country going to the game, West Virginia number 14 going to the game. And I think both these teams are right around, top 10, 10th in the country. And each one of them have an opportunity to make a really deep run in the NCAA tournament. But despite all the drama with the refs, and I think there was definitely something to it. I'm not one to blame the refs. I don't think I'm not big on that. Sometimes, yes, refs do determine the outcome of a game, but I think that would be an oversimplification of what happened. West Virginia made some big shots. McNeil went off. He was the player of the game. He made 5 threes. McBride had an okay game. Not a great game by his standards, but he did score 20 points. Culver did some things that were nice for West Virginia. And in the end, there was a bang-bang situation there where Texas Tech missed a wide-open 3, and then West Virginia went down and made a contested 3. And that was really the difference of the game. Both T.J. Shannon and McClung, neither one of them shot particularly well from the field, especially Shannon. I think he was 3 or 14. He got to the line. He played aggressively, but just couldn't get it to fall. Kevin McCullough didn't have a very good night. You look at his stat line, 8 points, only had a couple rebounds. He had a rough night. It was probably, in my opinion, his all-around worst game since being kind of, since his 3rd game back, since he's been kind of close to 100%. If Texas Tech is going to beat teams with, of the caliber of West Virginia, then Kevin McCullough and T.J. Shannon have to play better. And that's just the bottom line. They can't both have subpar games, and that's what occurred. I thought some other guys played well. I thought Kyler Edwards played well. He, stuffed the stat line. I mean, at one point he had like 8 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists with some time left. He had a good game. I thought Jamarius Burton also gave Tech some good minutes. Reek, some good time. Marcus Santasilva, who I think's played well recently, did not have a particularly good game. He struggled against, Culver and West Virginia's length. So, look, there was a lot of things going on in this game. In Texas Tech, it was coming off a 3-game winning streak. They had won 6 of 8. They were playing really well. I don't think this was their best game. They gave a good effort. They kept fighting back. West Virginia would be up like 6 points, then Tech would fight and come back and tie the game. Then West Virginia would go back up by 5 or 6 points. And that just kept happening all night long, as well as right there at the end. And, I feel like this was a really good learning opportunity for Texas Tech because for the first time, really, over the last 2 weeks, I've come to the conclusion that Tech is a really good team, and they're going to make a run, this March. I really expect that. Now, how good are they? I don't know. They have a high ceiling, but they have some problems. And I think West Virginia, particularly this season, the way they have a team full of shot makers, especially since they got rid of Oscar Tshiebwe, and they've surrounded Derek Culver with 4 guards. 4 guards who can knock down perimeter shots. And they didn't even have Taz Sherman tonight. So that's a real matchup problem for Texas Tech, which bizarrely, this very good defensive team, who still, at least going into the game tonight, led the Big 12 in terms of the least amount of points allowed. But teams are shooting a really high percentage from 3-point range. I mean, it's too much of a consistent thing for it to be a coincidence. It seems like, and there were some shots that West Virginia made that were contested tonight, but You got to tip the cap to them, because they are exploiting Tech's weakness of that perimeter defense. And Coach Beard even mentioned it earlier this week, previewing the game, that they're working on it, they're getting better, but they're not there yet, and they're certainly not there yet. And if they don't get that figured out, that's what's going to end up doing them in. They're going to run into some team in the tournament who's going to get hot from three, or is just a quality three-point shooting team, and that's going to be the end of the season. So hopefully they get that figured out. Hopefully, I'm sure Beard will get some kind of fine or something. I don't know what exactly will happen to him for his antics, but hopefully the Big 12 notice. At least, I'm not here saying like there's some conspiracy like the refs or the Big 12 wanted West Virginia to win, but just let them play a little bit. Both teams. The call late in the game on McClung on the inbounds is just it's so ticky-tack. You could have called it either way, really, because the offensive player was pushing off as well. So I just hate that. I wish we could have seen the players decide it. West Virginia is certainly good enough to decide it on their own. They've made a lot of plays this season and decided games on their own, so I would have liked to have seen that. But, like I said, I'm not one to say, oh, it's the refs, but I certainly understand Coach Beard's frustration just overall, and then with the refs in this game. Tech's got to shoot better. They have to play better, as Coach Beard said himself. Maybe if both these teams make deep enough runs, they see each other in March. They might see each other in a Big 12 tournament, but that doesn't really trip my trigger. These teams, I want to see what they do in March, and it would be really interesting if they ended up facing off again. What a battle that would be. So, look, it's a tough loss. You would have liked to see Texas Tech win this game. Big win for West Virginia. Now Tech has almost a week until they play TCU on Monday. They'll play TCU back-to-back. TCU's a hard team to figure out. They look either terrible or all right, pretty good, So we'll have to see. It's always hard to beat two teams, especially a rival, a team that's so close, in-conference rival, in-state rival, a team so close in terms of geographically. It's gonna be tough from that regard, but Texas Tech, I expect them to handle the business. They should have a good week of practice. Hopefully Shannon can get healthy. He's had that bum wheel. So, look, tough loss, but I expect the Red Raiders to bounce back. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. So, with that, I want to thank you for watching, and until next time.